Good morning, guys. It is the morning for me. It would probably be the afternoon when you see this, but I am getting ready to get me some water and make me an iced coffee so that we can get ready to go outside. Today is going to be a gardening day. I recruited the help of my husband. I'll probably get my kids to help as well when they get up and get ready for the day. But before I go outside, I wanted to talk to you about this new watering system that I've been trying out. So this is called Simpure. It is a tabletop water filtration system that you use to filter your water. As it filters my water, I am going to be talking to you about it. Simpure is a reverse osmosis countertop filtration system with UV light. It filters 99.99% of over 1,000 contaminants that could be in your water. It does not require installation and comes in these two easy pieces that fit right onto your countertop. It comes right out of the box with easy to follow instructions right on the back of the machine. On the front of the machine, it has these easy lit up buttons for flushing the system, administering water, and on the back it has this container where you put your water into, and it has the max level of how much water can fit in here. As you can see, our water level is low. It does have that two filtering systems for filtering out the water, which already comes installed in your machine, so you do not have to install it when you get it. They are already in there. This handle allows you to easily pick up the container to fill it with water. And then you can just easily sit it back on the machine, but when you do first get your machine, it's already attached. All you have to do is remove it and fill it with water. This machine is powered by electricity, so you do want to make sure that it's next to a plug. Thank you to Simpure for sending me this water filtration system to try out. I really do enjoy the simplicity of it and that it doesn't require installation. So if you guys are interested or on the market for a watering filtration system, then I would highly suggest that you look up Simpure's water filtration system, and I will drop a link in the description below. I do like to drink water before I drink coffee because sometimes if I drink coffee first thing in the morning, it does bother my stomach. So now that I've drank my 2 cups of water, I am going to start on my iced coffee. I'm going to fill the rest with goat's milk, but to get the rest of this out, I'm going to pour the goat milk in here first. Swirl it around and then pour it on top. I sweeten my coffee with this liquid stevia that I get from Vitacost. We do have all of these flavors. Sometimes I like adding flavors. This was our favorite one and we ran out, this peppermint bark, but I do really like salted caramel as well. What's up, guys? So I do have a new outfit on. I just washed my hair, so my hair's still dripping. If you see that, if you hear any noise, that's my son who's taking down the sheds. I will show you the progress on that in a little bit, but we are outside in the garden today because I am going to be planting my roses. If you saw my last video, my husband did dig the holes for my roses, and now I want to go ahead and add some amendments in the holes, add some black cow maybe, or this mushroom compost, and get them planted. I did already put some blood meal and bone meal in this container because I was planting my grapevines. I'll show you that. I planted 2 out of 4 of them. Off camera, I did plant 1 grapevine here and added some amendments to it, and then I planted the second one down here. I still have 2 more. I have 1 right here in this black container, and then I have 1 in that bed that I want to plant there, but I would need to move all these vines, and I'm not doing that right now. What I want to get done is these roses planted, since I have the holes already dug for me, which I very much appreciate my husband digging for me, just to get these roses in the ground and they can start being all they can be and not turning yellow. So while I am over here planting these roses, I did want to talk to you guys. I forgot the fertilizer. So I did want to talk to you guys about some garden discouragement and some failures. So this is over here is the soil that my husband dug out. It's mostly sandy, very sandy. And I'm just mixing it with some of this black cow that I have here to loosen it up. I already sprinkled some of the fertilizer down in that hole. This first rose I'm going to be planting is a happy-go-lucky, which is a yellow rose. This one does have thorns. Some of the ones that I bought do not have thorns, or they have not a lot of thorns, but this one does have a pretty good amount of thorns. I'm going to backfill this hole. And anyway, like I was saying, I built this garden starting in December, and I did get some bulk compost delivered. I got it delivered 2 times, so altogether it was about 20 yards of compost, and then I did get maybe 10 yards of topsoil, and then I also planted in each, I added in peat moss and then like blood meal and bone meal and perlite and all that good stuff. And you would think, and there were no digs, so I didn't dig. I just laid down cardboard, and then I'm gonna step on this. I laid down cardboard and then just added the compost and the topsoil on top. And what had happened was the compost that I got was not good. And so in the beds, in my regular wooden side beds that I have most of my garden in, I planted, or I put in more compost than I did topsoil. When I first started, I was putting about 50-50, but then I thought the mixture was a little too heavy, and so I started adding more compost, which was a mistake because the compost was not good. And so it actually hurt a lot of my plants, and I didn't have really good success in growing in produce in my beds that I put mostly compost in. In my log raised beds where I started and had 50-50 compost and 50% topsoil, did way better at producing than my beds that had more compost, which I've used that compost in the past to build my old garden in my old neighborhood, and so I didn't think it was going to be a problem, but I guess it was. And with everything going on this year and companies trying to mass produce compost, I guess, faster than they used to, I just didn't have really good success with that compost, and so I won't be using it again. But in order to remedy that, because you guys saw that I did struggle with lots of grubs being in that soil, and it also affected my green beans with having to plant them. I replanted green beans, sunflowers didn't do good in those beds. I had some of the tomatoes in my what's it called, the bed, the in-ground bed. Some of my tomatoes that were planted in ground, some of the spots was mostly compost, and the tomatoes that was planted on the spots that was mostly compost,
they didn't do really well. And so just lots of setbacks for such a big garden. We did, don't get me wrong, we did get, you know, lots of like cherry tomatoes and stuff like that, but not a lot of big slicer tomatoes and like Roma tomatoes. So that was really discouraging. Okay, so we got our first rows planted and only 9 more to go. For reference, I wanted to show you the beds that I was talking about. These beds were the absolute last beds that we built in the garden. These 3 beds specifically, I replanted the sunflowers in this bed maybe 2 or 3 times before they actually did well. I had green beans in both of these, and this is mostly compost, and I struggled with grubs, so I dug them all out. I sprinkled nematodes on there, and then they started greening up, which was hopeful for me, and so I did get some green beans off of these 2 beds, but not nearly as much as I would if the soil was not struggling with nutrients and the grubs. And then I just replanted the pinto beans in these beds just to see how they were going to be doing. I was hopeful that they were going to do well. Now that I added in the black cow on top of each bed, because other beds, this bed right here was the first bed that we planted onions in, and this bed, once I took all the onions out, I added in 3 bags of black cow. Then I replanted some straggler tomatoes, and they were probably a month behind all of the other tomatoes that I planted. And within, I don't even know, maybe a week or 2, they were already reaching the top of the trellis, where the tomatoes in this in-ground bed, which had way more compost, were still short and barely producing. As you can see, I still have maybe 2 or 3 tomatoes in this bed, but the soil here was mostly majority compost. And so just me adding in, like amending with the black cow and the mushroom compost, it told me that the places where I had compost in, that the compost was not doing well. But by adding in some amendments, which is in the form of new compost, then it will turn around, because then the tomatoes over on that trellis, they are above and beyond reaching the trellis. And so I am hopeful that all of the beds that I took out, that I dug out and added in black cow or mushroom compost and then covered, I am hopeful that those beds will next season produce very well. Well, not next season, but for this fall, I am hopeful that those beds will produce. But it was a discouragement in doing all of this work to have a fall or to have a summer and spring garden, and then realizing that my compost was not good, and that I had to then amend the soil and fix the soil to have a better harvest going forward. But with that said, I am happy to have the garden all set up, and I don't have to do that again. Now I just have to try and get the nutrients put back into my soil. So I know that I'm not the only one dealing with garden discouragement and things happening with people's soil. And so it can be discouraging in thinking about what you lost. But what I want to try to do is think about the future, and thinking about the fact that I got this garden set up in less than, and got it planted in like 4 months, and that now it's here and it's established, and now I just need to amend it and make it productive, but I don't have to build it again from scratch. And so I'm going to take the lessons that I've learned and the discouragement that I feel and felt, I got distracted from my daughter stepping on these boxes, and it looked like there was It looked like there's blood meal on those boxes, but I'm not sure why would there be, because it looks like it's spilled. But anyway, rabbit trail. I am taking off of the tags off of these containers and burying them with the roses, so I know which rose is which. I did get these roses from Heirloom Roses. This one that I'm planting right now is a David Austin rose. It's called Tranquility. I'm pretty sure it's yellow. I am stepping on the soil once I get it to the top, so that I know when it rains that I got it really compacted in here. Okay, I got 5 of those roses planted. I am drenched in sweat. The part of the garden that I need to finish planting these roses in is literally the only part of our garden that has sun right now, because the sun is going down. It is about 5:30. Actually, it's not going down yet. It's behind clouds. And so this little strip down the side where I'm planting the roses at the moment is still in full sun. And so I am drenched, but standing right here feels really cool. And so I am going to take a break on planting the rest of these roses. There is a gray cloud right above me. It looks like it might rain, and it's been thundering, but I need to take a break because I need water and I need to get this sweat. It's disgusting. While I was working on the roses, my daughters were working on getting these green bean plants down off of the trellis. Our rabbits can eat green bean plants. They just can't eat the beans themselves. And so we will feed some to our rabbit, and then the rest we will give to the chickens. I just stepped in an ant pile right here, and so they're all over my feet. This is what my son has gotten done so far. He's knocked down this side of the shed, and then the back half, we'll walk around and see how that looks. So this is what the back half looks like. We are going to be saving the roofing, and the rest of the stuff we'll just bring to the dump. We live about 2 minutes away from the dump. This is what's going on in this shed right now. This plastic is for my garden, and so are those garden containers. And I won't be using this as a garden storage thing. I will have my garden, what are they called? I can't think what they're called, but I will be using it to store like my rakes and stuff like that hanging, but not like my containers or anything like that. What I do want to get done in the winter or the fall really would be to get a greenhouse built closer to the garden, maybe. Not exactly sure on where it would be, but that's where I would store, like kind of like a seed starting greenhouse maybe. I don't know if I would use it for planting, maybe half of it for planting and the other half for starting seeds. And I want to build it out of cattle panel. So it will be like a cattle panel greenhouse, which I've seen lots of different videos of people building those. And so that's what I want to do. And then that's where all of my containers for my gardening supplies, like seed starting material, whether it be potting soil, seed starting soil, or any of my containers that I need, they will all go into the seed starting greenhouse. I do need to finish dinner, so I'm going inside, half to cool off and half because I need to get dinner done. Finished. I started chicken this morning and I want to put barbecue sauce on it, and then also make some rice. I think I'm gonna make. I'm actually going to go ahead and end this vlog here because I do have my 4-year-old Nael who's following me around asking me to wash her hair, and I do need to wash her hair and rebraid it, and so I do not think that I will get back out to the garden once I finish with dinner and washing her hair, because I have to detangle it and braid it, and it'll probably be too late to get back into the garden. So I'll have to plant the rest of those 5 roses probably tomorrow. So thank you guys for hanging out with me, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.